Right,
So
but they
that's
could produce a second Bitcoin system, maybe.
yes, and that's why. Well, it's not like Bitcoin because it doesn't have ultimately what makes Bitcoin important, which is that it is decentralized and nobody controls it. So Bitcoin
You think that
emerged
can
as
never be achieved again?
yes,
So here was a concern, a sincere concern from Sheikh Tarek, seeking to understand. It's quite clear here that he's interested. He's bringing his objections. He wants to know. So we just said Bitcoin supply is fixed. Is you can't get you can't bring in more than that. And then the argument will be, yeah, but can't you just bring another currency? That's actually an argument as we mentioned by many people. Can't Although the price of Bitcoin can't be diluted or the supply of Bitcoin can't be diluted, can't you just have more cryptocurrencies and that in effect dilutes Bitcoin? Because rather than I mean, if you have Abdullah and you have Sufyan, Abdullah buys Bitcoin and Sufyan buys another coin. Rather than buying Bitcoin, he buys another coin, and that's effectively diluting the money supply and whatnot, which is, I guess, you could say, type of inflation. I guess I don't know, and that is kind of true. But the nature of money is that money eats up. It's a winner takes all scenario, as in people gravitate to the money which is the best form of money. So you can say that gold and silver destroyed all currencies before it, and paper money replaced gold because it's more practical, and then uh, credit cards and debit cards replaced paper money, and now we have tap. You can now just tap on your phone. The point is, when people find a new system, they tend to gravitate towards the most effective, most useful, and the winner. And although during alt season, altcoins do come and take some market share, eventually what happens, and you all will see, especially right now, is that the reality comes true. That people only really wanted these shitcoins in order to make more fiat. That's why they went there. And when the market is in a downturn, you find they empty their bags because they never really wanted it. And that also includes in Bitcoin. There may be people who buy Bitcoin only because of more fiat, and once it doesn't go their way, they exit. But the reality is that most people that actually want anything, they want Bitcoin. Hence why you find that in the downturn, the Bitcoin dominance grows and people return back to safety. Yeah, some return to fiat, but the others will return to Bitcoin. So yeah, you could say in the short term, in limited times, the other cryptocurrencies dilute Bitcoin. But I see is that it's a temporary thing, and they tend to return back home eventually anyway. Moving on.
because basically what happened is that Bitcoin was introduced by a guy who disappeared, and it's been running for 12 years without him, and it has attracted throughout those 12 years everybody who accepts the idea that they don't get to make money. And they don't get to print money. They don't get to live in a world of fiat where they get seniorage anymore. Anybody who wants a neutral protocol went into Bitcoin. Everybody who wanted to be their own inflationary shitcoin central bank went and started their own inflationary shitcoin central bank, which is highly centralized. And if these have succeeded,
Yeah.
if you see them even compared to Bitcoin in any sense, they're only being compared to Bitcoin because they're being centralized and they're being promoted and marketed by people who are paying money in order to make them sound like they are like Bitcoin. But the more successful the altcoin is, the more centralized it is. And with Bitcoin, it's the exact opposite. It's becoming more and more decentralized over time, whereas all the altcoins are just centralized gimmicks. So this is why Bitcoin is really the only one that matters, and this is why Bitcoin is the only one that I think I could. Again, I'm not the Shaykh, but I think Bitcoin is the only one that is halal.
So what Sheikh Saif is saying here essentially is that Bitcoin is unique. And although other coins have tried to gain some favor and take some market share from Bitcoin, the reality is that all the other coins none of the other coins have been able to succeed in achieving what Bitcoin achieved. Bitcoin's history, what it has achieved, its decentralization, hasn't been matched by any coin, and any other coin who claims that they want to achieve that only does the complete opposite. That's essentially what he's saying. I don't want to go into details because this video's gone on long enough, but the point is that if you actually analyze the unique properties of Bitcoin being borderless, censorship resistant, decentralized, all that kind of stuff, you find that Bitcoin has the only one who's actually managed to achieve all of this. Not to mention that Bitcoin, the way it came into existence was unique. No other coin can even suggest such a thing, and so on and so forth. But what he said is sufficient, and we suffice with that.
Because with everything else, you're buying, I mean, even if it is consensual, you're buying into something that is just basically somebody else's database, and they can mess with that database in all kinds of ways. And that can, you're allowing somebody to print money at low cost. So I think it's similar to the camel story, but there are no camels there. So you're just making the people behind those things extremely rich and extremely powerful in a way that's unsustainable, because these things won't be able to grow into a neutral protocol used apolitically internationally all over the world.
So what he's essentially doing is bringing the model, the business model for altcoins, is that essentially the way they function is that they have a genuine central issuer, someone who issues these coins. And it costs them nothing to issue those coins. They're just a line of code and they have the coins. And then they try to shill and sell these coins to you with all the promises of making money and it's going to go up and pump and the rest of it. And then when you buy into that, then they dump their bags. Essentially, there is nothing that they are offering that is not anything other than just, you say, almost like a Ponzi, almost like just buying something they issued at zero cost. Whereas Bitcoin, whatever is issued, you had to earn it. The issuance was the most fairest approach that could possibly happen and has ever happened since. And it has many unique features that makes it stand out from the other altcoins. That's the basic premise of why. And so he says that he even thinks he could even make a case that other coins are haram based on that. Other about the haram discussion, I mean, definitely, there are probably, I would say, most coins would be in the realms of haram because they're outright scams and the rest of it. Maybe not all of them, but definitely a vast majority of them will definitely tick the boxes of being haram due to the nature of them as being just a means for the owners to make money off of you and to steal your wealth. No function other than that. Whereas a Bitcoin, the owner, quote unquote, Satoshi Nakamoto, is for all intents and purposes dead. And even the coins he has, he had to mine it himself. There's no pre-mine.
Yes, and I think in that case,
crash.
you have this uncertainty issue coming back then. If the value that you're buying is uncertain, and the traditional example was the bird in the air, you can't sell a bird in the air because you never know whether you'll be able to catch it. You might own it, it might have flown the cage, but you still own it. But how can you sell it to somebody? You never guarantee you'll be able to catch the thing. And if there's uncertainty, over the camel in a womb, for example, unborn camel, you can't sell it. You don't know whether it's healthy, male, female, big, small. So, on those traditional examples, scholars have given themselves the right to judge things impermissible based on the uncertainty over their existence or of their value. And I think, in those systems where people have simply gone on a sort of prima donna kind of roadshow and promoted their new coin, and it's just, their own laptop. And I read one example about this a few years back. That kind of thing, I think, can be prohibited on legal grounds of uncertainty.
So this is, again, one of those issues that really gets my goat when people bring into the discussion of Bitcoin other shitcoins. Now, the example he gave here, someone issued a coin and starts going around and get people to buy their coin and whatnot. That's not our discussion, and it shouldn't be our discussion because that's not an accurate description of Bitcoin. It has never been an accurate description of Bitcoin. So what other altcoins do isn't part of our discussion. So, and refer to my previous video about that because it's something that happens over and over again when we discuss Bitcoin. Those who object to Bitcoin mention altcoins and mention how they behave. And that's irrelevant to us. That's not how our Bitcoin works. But another issue you mentioned is the gharar, the uncertainty issue. And again, just to draw this back in here, you mentioned about purchasing the baby in the womb, like a camel's calf or the calf in the womb. I don't know what it is, or a bird in the air. I might own it, but I can't capture it. These are uncertain things that have been prohibited because there's no way to actualize and materialize and know for certain what I'm actually buying. I might buy the baby in the womb. I understand that there's a calf or a sheep or whatever, a ram inside the belly of the sheep, or a baby camel inside the belly of a camel. But I don't know if it's going to live, if it's going to die, what it looks like, if it's deformed. I have no idea. So there's uncertainty in that. There's gharar. But I hate when they use that to regards to Bitcoin, because uncertainty in value tomorrow is not uncertainty that is used. Everything's uncertain. I don't know if the price of eggs is going to go up tomorrow or down. No one knows it for sure. We can guess based on history that it's going to remain the same, but we don't know. But the point is, I want the egg. So with Bitcoin or any currency for that matter, there are no guarantees of its price. Can anyone on planet Earth guarantee the price of any currency tomorrow? If that was the case, they'll be able to make a killing. If anyone knew the price of their currency tomorrow with 100% certainty, they could be a millionaire by the end of the year. They could trade that. But the fact is, no one knows this, and that's just reality. So the uncertainty in its price is irrelevant. What is relevant, though, is the uncertainty in the thing. If I said I want to buy whatever coin you have, say I said I've got a wallet, I've got a phone, I want this phone is some cryptocurrency. I sell you it for £1,000. I have no idea what cryptocurrency is in there. It could be Ethereum, it could be Bitcoin, it could be Litecoin. That's uncertainty, because I don't know what I'm actually buying. But if I say I want to buy Bitcoin, I know how much you want to buy? One whole one. Boom, there you go. I've got one whole one. It's uncertain. I know exactly how many Bitcoins I'm gonna get. I get 1.5 or 1 Bitcoin or 2 Bitcoin. I know exactly what I'm gonna get, and I get that exact thing. So this idea of gharar or uncertainty doesn't work, and it's double standards, like I mentioned in previous videos. Because one can make the claim for any currency. Look at the Turkish lira. Look at the Lebanese pound. Look at the Turkish pound. They're going through hyperinflation. They're dropping their value like a brick from a window. So no one knows if it's going to go up or going to go down. But no one ever says that those currencies are not currencies because of their volatility. Anyway, so just to clarify the point, the issue of gharar or uncertainty or doubt in what it is doesn't apply here, because I know exactly how much Bitcoin I'm going to buy, and there's no uncertainty. £10 for 1 Bitcoin. He's clear what he's going to get. He's clear what he's going to get, and that's the end of it. But like I said, this only makes sense if you only see Bitcoin in fiat value.